we tell you a story about money, mistakes, and vision. A story that began with desperation and ended with dominance. The story of how a $7 million deal reshaped cinema forever. The story of Marvel and the hero they let go. Once upon a time, Marvel was broke. Not struggling, broke. In the late 1990s, their comics weren't selling, their movies weren't working, and bankruptcy was just around the corner. So they began selling what they had, their heroes, the X-Men, to 20th Century Fox, the Fantastic Four, also to Fox, the Hulk, to Universal Pictures, Daredevil, Ghost Rider, and Blade, scattered across various studios. And then came Spider-Man, their biggest name, their brightest icon, sold to Sony Pictures for just $7 million. The deal was simple. Sony had to make a Spider-Man movie every 5 years or lose the rights. Marvel agreed. They kept the toy money. No one thought much of it. But that deal would change everything. The year was 2002. Sony released Spider-Man. It was electric. Tobey Maguire swung into theaters, and the world swung with him. The film earned more than $800 million worldwide. It became the highest-grossing superhero movie of its time. Sony had turned a comic book into a global phenomenon. And Marvel? They could only watch from the sidelines. Their biggest hero was gone. Their crown jewel sold for $7 million. Years passed. Lessons were learned, and in 2008, Marvel decided to take control. If studios wouldn't make their movies, they'd make them themselves. They started small, with Iron Man. No Spider-Man, no X-Men, no Fantastic Four. But Iron Man wasn't just a film. It was a spark, the beginning of something bigger, a connected universe that would rewrite the rules of storytelling. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was born. One year later, in 2009, Disney saw the potential. They bought Marvel for $4 billion. Think about that. Marvel once sold Spider-Man for $7 million. Now their entire world was worth $4 billion. Disney didn't just buy characters. They bought 5,000 stories and turned them into blockbusters, parks, games, and dreams. Today, Disney's MCU has earned over $28 billion. Sony's Spider-Man franchise, over $10 billion. A desperate sale had become the foundation of an empire. So two rivals joined hands, a rare alliance in Hollywood. Marvel could use Spider-Man in their movies. Sony would keep the film rights. The result? Spider-Man Homecoming in 2016, and No Way Home in 2021. A box office explosion worth $1.9 billion. The hero Marvel once sold had finally come home.
Sony didn't stop there. They built an entire world around Spider-Man, Venom, Morbius, and then came Into the Spider-Verse, a visual masterpiece that won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. Its sequel, Across the Spider-Verse, became one of the most loved animated films of the decade. From one hero, they created a multiverse. Here's what the numbers say. Spider-Man sold for $7 million. Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion. The Spider-Man films earned more than $10 billion. The MCU, nearly $30 billion. One decision, born out of desperation, became a legacy worth $40 billion. In business and in storytelling, ownership matters. But vision matters more. Marvel lost a hero and built a universe. And in the end, that $7 million mistake became the deal that changed cinema forever.